Today, let's talk about a tiny village in Illinois. The name of it is Dalton, and it has approximately 20,000 residents. And their mayor, Tiffany Henyard, who calls herself the super mayor, is also the township supervisor. And she is paid nearly $300,000 a year, and the residents and the town trustees have had enough. She recently visited the White House and posted a photo of herself with the one and only Joe Biden, and then she posted with the photo, "Stay positive, stay focused, and stay the course." This is the culture of the Democratic Party as we know it today, where they spend and spend and spend on themselves and on unnecessary things while the town and the people have to go without. Media reports about Henyard detail her lavish spending of public funds on first-class trips around the country, billboards that critics call thinly veiled campaign ads, and professional hair and makeup stylists before public appearances and photo shoots. And here's the lovely Miss Henyard with the one and only Joe Biden. When are people going to open their eyes around the entire country and realize that they are voting for this? They are believing the lies that these people tell on the campaign trail. And they're all up in arms now because they're not getting the services they deserve. And rightfully so. They're taxpayers. They should be getting their services. But this mayor could care less. But she continues to fight them tooth and nail when they call her out on her lavish spending. So let's talk about it some more. So again, this is the Democrat Party of today. They go on the campaign trail, they promise and promise and promise, and they deliver nothing. And I'm not going to say that Republicans don't do the same, but for the most part, I believe Republicans do some of what they promise, at least. But this Tiffany Henyard basically sees herself as some superstar. She thinks she's a celebrity. Everywhere she goes, it's red carpet treatment with her very large security detail that encompasses officers from the Dalton Police Department, which that leaves the streets with less police. But again, she doesn't care. She doesn't care if residents complain. She doesn't care if the town the town board members complain. It's all about her because she's the mayor. And of course, she has to use race as one of the keys to why people are upset. And we see this all too often. We see it in New York and we see it in Chicago, where the mayors say because they're black, that's why people are upset, which can't be further from the truth. Well, there was recently an open council meeting, if you will, where people and the board trustees were able to question the mayor, and she fired back. She wasn't happy because, again, she believes that she's a superstar. So let's have a look at this.
WGN Investigates has an update on dysfunction in Dalton, where local leaders are fighting over transparency, spending, and safety. Now the South Suburbs' controversial mayor is firing back, and it all played out at a public meeting last night.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet, the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work, no work.
Tiffany Henyard considers herself something of a crusader, but one who's clearly annoyed by questions from a rebellious group of Dalton trustees who are in a standoff with her over spending.
At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid.
How about you be a good leader, bring RFPs to the forefront, so not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent.
WGN Investigates has cataloged tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars spent on trips, meals, and more by Tiffany Henyard and her allies in Dalton and on the Thornton Township Board, where she's the supervisor. Township credit card records show Henyard and other officials spent more than $67,000 on trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. Henyard has refused to explain the specific purpose of the trips or why they travel in such style, but she appeared to refer to our reporting at Monday's Dalton meeting.
But everything we do for the people. But we under attack. We getting scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on the people, showing them that they matter to us. We going through the fires for y'all.
Henyard calls her critics grandstanders who should get in line.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Dalton's difficulties got worse in recent weeks with water main breaks Henyard blames on trustee budget cuts. Then 4 people were shot and injured last week, leaving nerves frayed and Henyard's opponents pointing out her sizable security detail.
It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics.
We're not saying the police is not doing a good job. What we're saying is you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents so we can all feel safe.
Residents are taking notice. Some spoke for and others against the mayor.
But, you know, we got the mayor here, meeting with the president of the United States. Everyone's seen the picture. That's a big deal. That is great promotion for this city, for this town.
Ladies and gentlemen, be civil. Do things right. Think of the residents. You are here to represent the residents and not yourself.
And there you have it. That's the mayor of Dalton, a village of 20,000 people, paying herself close to $300,000 to travel around the country first class at a price tag to taxpayers of $67,000. Staying at the Four Seasons Hotel, taxpayers are paying $9,000. New York City, $13,000. But she says it's for the people. She's putting herself through the fire for the people because she's a black woman in power. So it's all about race. Okay? She doesn't care that this water main breaks and they didn't have the money. She blamed the trustees for budget cuts. Then they had a shooting. She didn't care, but the trustees and the police chief tell us she took $1 million from the police budget for whatever, for herself, for her travel, her clothing, her photo shoots, her billboards. But she is there for the people. She will not answer questions about it as to why she needs such a large police detail, because she thinks she's a celebrity. If she is reelected in 2025, she will retain the salary of close to $300,000. But and there's an ordinance that she passed, that if anyone else takes the supervisor's post and the mayor's office, the salary falls by 90% to approximately $25,000 if she loses an election. But if she wins, it stays the same at close to $300,000. Now tell me, this is not a Democrat who is her ego is so large that she believes she is worth $300,000 a year. When the people, the trustees, the police chief, and whoever can see it, the writing is on the wall that she is a failure. She is spending on lavish items. She's driven around in a motorcade of GMC Yukons or Chevy Tahoes with police officers in every one. She thinks that she belongs in Hollywood, which quite frankly, someone like this mayor would fit in well in Hollywood because they're all fakes anyways. And the residents are not supposed to be upset. You heard one man say, she met with the President of the United States, Joe Biden. What's Joe Biden going to do for her Joe Biden met her, shook her hand, and then forgot where he even was. So that goes right out the window. But the bottom line is, you have such a small amount of residents. She should be making around $25,000 a year for both jobs. But that's not good enough. And again, you have to blame the voters, because they believed all of her lies on the campaign trail, that she was going to revitalize Dalton, the entire township. She was going to make it better. She was going to make it safer. She was going to put them on the map. When all she's doing is putting herself on the map. Because I'm pretty certain she has aspirations for higher office. They all start out as mayor or on the council or the local legislature, and then they think they're good enough to go to Washington and sit in Congress, when we all know that's a fairy tale. Because everyone who has done that so far has failed the people who put them there. This is American politics as we know it in 2024, from a specific party that now has a president of the United States who is not competent enough to stand trial, but he's competent enough to be the leader of the free world. It all goes hand in hand. It's people like Tiffany Henyard who are making it bad for the Democratic Party as a whole. And I'm sure the entire party is not like that, but the majority are. They're all about themselves. They want to get into office for themselves to feel important and do what they think is right for them. They don't care about the people that voted them into office. The bottom line here is, this is corruption at the highest level of government. If she is really, and the trustees have the receipts, spending tens of thousands of dollars on herself for first-class flights, luxury hotels and dinners, that's corruption. She should be paying for that herself out of her $300,000 a year salary. The taxpayers of a small village shouldn't be on the hook because Tiffany Henyard thinks she's some superstar. And hopefully, in 2025, when she is up for re-election, they get rid of her as mayor and as township supervisor. And unfortunately, the new boss will have to come in at a $25K salary, but then they can always go in and change that, just like Henyard did. America as we know it is down the toilet. I say it every time I talk about politics because it's facts. The facts are there. The writing is on the wall. People are being elected to office for self-gratification and to fill their pockets with money at the expense of the people who put them in office. Henyard, again, could care less if that town falls apart. She's going to continue to roll around with a large security detail thinking she's this big celebrity. She's going to continue to put the citizens' safety at risk by not putting these cops back on the street where they belong. And it's only going to stop when the people wake up and get rid of her when she's up for re-election. That's the only way it could happen. It needs to happen across the entire country, especially in cities like Chicago and in New York, where they voted for these people on promises that they were going to fix everything, and all they're doing is making it worse.